So these are all our calibrations that we did in various gas mixtures for an oxidized Constantan wire of the same source as Celani used for then processing to his special Constantan wire. As you can see, and Celani mentioned this, this was our very first run, and if you look, it was in 75% hydrogen and 25% argon at 3.5 bar. And you can see this big resistivity drop, which wasn't there for the other tests, and you saw a 2.5% resistivity drop in that very first calibration run. So if you can go back to that one. Okay, so this was the very first calibration run. So effectively, that was kind of when it wasn't really loaded, and we saw the response here. That's what we call our lower baseline. If anyone's been following the project, when we did all of the other calibration runs, they sat below but very close to this line. They were very, very tightly clustered. Again, that's all published on the website. So what we decided to do for the live experiment on the 12th was we had two power estimations from the outside of the cell. One was our maximum using this baseline here, and the other one was our minimum using this baseline, which was the worst case scenario that we discovered in our calibration runs. As another calibration, when we ran the Celani wire, 360, 370 layers, we first ran a calibration run up to a low power here in helium, and that presented this line, which was interesting because it was very close to this line. So if we didn't want to take it up too high because we didn't want to risk damaging the wire before we did the active run. But if you see it's very close, so we could maybe see in later experiments that this is really our baseline. But to be ultra conservative, we chose our utterly worst case scenario here. And you can see with the active loading on the 360 layer wire in a pressure of 1 bar and hydrogen, 100% hydrogen, we were seeing this result here, and this is the passive wire. So effectively, we were over the 48 hours, we saw 6 watts on our most pessimistic baseline, with just 23 milligrams of hydrogen and 270 milligrams of active material. Okay, so we believe we went well past chemical within the first few hours. That needs to be thought out a little bit more. If we look at this lower baseline, we should have achieved a much higher excess power. So I think we're pretty confident that we saw 12.5%, but we may be of the order of about 50% in this second experiment. So we're going to be running a number of experiments in steel cells, in quartz cells, with different types of calorimetry. And all of the data is going to be published live. And I've just been emailed by Matthew to say the live experiment, which is running at the moment, which hopefully I can get up and show you the live data. We've just upped the power a little bit, so I'm interested to see what it's doing. Thank you.